Hello everyone. In this lecture, we will be discussing the short story The Lumber Room, written by Saki. Moving on to the summary of the story, the protagonist of this particular story is a young child named Nicholas, and from the narrator, we get to know that Nicholas is quite mischievous and imaginative as well. He has the imagination skills and innocence of a young child. He's quite mischievous as well. So, when the story opens, we get an understanding that Nicholas, along with a few cousins, they stay together in a boarding kind of facility which is run by a woman, and she is referred to as the aunt in this particular story. So the aunt is the one who is taking care of these children, and she is quite rigid and strict with these children. So when the story opens itself, we get an understanding that Nicholas is quite a troublemaker, and he is denying to have his breakfast and framing a story saying that there is a frog in his breakfast. So the aunt, in order to punish him, plans a picnic to the sands of Jagborough, and all the children except for Nicholas is taken for this trip. So this is one sort of tactic or one strategy that she uses in order to punish the children who are misbehaving. So she organizes a picnic or a trip, and the child who is misbehaving is not taken along with the other children. So today Nicholas was the victim of this particular strategy implemented by the aunt, and we also find that she is quite angry with the mischief that Nicholas causes in the house. So all the children have gone to the sands of Jagborough, and Nicholas is all alone, and aunt is also there. So Nicholas is clear instruction is given by the aunt to Nicholas, saying that you have to stay away from the garden, and she is somewhere around the garden working around, and she expects that Nicholas will sneak into the garden, but he does not. He utilizes this opportunity, takes advantage of the opportunity, and sneaks into the forbidden lumber room. So for Nicholas, this place is filled with mysteries and fascinating objects which the aunt keeps away from the children. So he is curious to get into the lumber room and explore the things that is hidden in this room. When he enters the lumber room, he finds everything to be magical and mystical, the things that he sees around. And he wants to explore everything, touch everything, feel everything, because all these are things filled with color, life, in contrast to the house that they are staying in. So in this particular house, everything is quite boring. The aunt, when she feels that something is pricey, she just hides it inside the lumber room. So the children are not allowed to see these fascinating things. It is always the boring stuff that is given to them. So when he enters into the lumber room, seeing all these things, he is quite fascinated, and he wants to touch everything. So the first thing that he sees is a framed tapestry, and the tapestry has a story in it. It is like a huntsman is there, a hunter standing there. It's like a picture of a hunter, and seeing this picture, he starts imagining the story behind this tapestry. He, like his imagination skills, because of his imagination skills, he is able to build a wonderful story just by seeing this image of the hunter. Later he finds twisted candles in the shape of snakes, and he finds it quite fascinating. Later he finds a teapot that is fashioned like a china duck, and the opening of the tea kettle is the beak of the duck. So it's quite fascinating again. Then he finds a sandalwood box inside which there are cotton wools, and it is quite aromatic, and inside this cotton wool he finds that 3 little brass figures are hidden. So he finds a hump-necked bull, then there's a peacock, and there is a goblin. All these figures are carefully wrapped inside the cotton wool, and it even smells good. Later he finds a large square book, inside which he is able to find different kinds of birds he has never seen. So the pictures, the descriptions about these birds, and he's touching all these things, feeling all these things going through the pictures in this book, and it's quite interesting for this child. This is where he is building his stories. This is where he is able to imagine a story and build it. So while he is exploring these hidden treasures inside the lumber room, he hears his aunt calling from the garden. When Nicholas follows the sound and reaches the garden, he understands that his aunt has accidentally fallen into a rainwater tank, and she is fine, not hurt or anything, but she wants Nicholas to help her find the ladder and help her out of this place. But he, being the young child he is, the innocent child he is, he thinks that this is not his aunt but the evil one, because his aunt would never ask him to do this kind of things, and his aunt is not foolish to fall inside a rainwater tank. So he thinks that this is not his aunt but some evil one that is stuck inside. And also the aunt tells that there is strawberry jam, and she would give the strawberry jam to Nicholas. And the child then innocently says that no, if it was his real aunt, she would never share the strawberry jam. She also doesn't know that there is strawberry jam hidden in the cupboard. She is unaware of it, because when the children ask, she always says that there is no strawberry jam. So he thinks that the aunt doesn't know about the existence of her strawberry jam, and therefore this is not his aunt but the evil one. And he denies helping this so-called evil one and leaves the garden. Later, some of the other helpers finds the aunt and helps her out of the pit, out of this rainwater tank. So the story ends in this delighted note, fun note, where Nicholas is all happy about this particular day, because he was able to see the things inside the lumber room, and even he is able to taste the strawberry jam. So he's quite happy with his day, whereas the aunt is sitting in one corner, humiliated and defeated as well at the same time, and she realizes that she was not able to control him. Also, the other children who returned from the sands of Jagborough, they also did not have a happy time, because it was the high tides and they couldn't enjoy the sea. So it was only Nicholas who has a fun, exciting and victorious day, and this is how the story comes to an end. Now, what is the importance of the title? What is the relevance of the lumber room? So, for Nicholas, a young child who imagines stories, who lives in a boring life, who is living with the aunt who is very strict, for him, this lumber room signifies a forbidden treasure, a place that he is forbidden from entering. And it is very much similar to how these children in this house, they are denied to have fun things, exciting things in their life. When you look at the relationship between the aunt and the children of the story, she is very strict with them. She constantly punishes them. Corporal punishments are there. So she tries to control their life. For these children, the lumber room, the treasures hidden in the lumber room, it's quite mysterious and magical. So this is kind of like a magical world for Nicholas, where he is able to run his imagination. His imagination goes wild. He is able to make up stories, seeing the things, seeing the hidden treasures inside the lumber room. So that is what the significance of the lumber room is, and it stands as a metaphor for the potential and knowledge that is hidden away or neglected or even restricted from these children. Moving on to the major themes of this story, we find that few major themes are the innocence of the child. Like I mentioned, Nicholas is very innocent, and we get that from the interaction between Nicholas and his aunt when she is in that tank. Next one is the imagination and curiosity that this child has. He's very curious to go into that lumber room and explore the things there, and just by seeing the strange treasures hidden in the lumber room, he is able to imagine stories. So that is another major theme. And then we find another theme is the world of conventions. Why? Because the aunt is constantly judging this child for being innocent and for being mischievous. A young child of 8 or 7 years, that is what we expect from such a child. So she is trying to control them, and she is trying to be strict with them. So it is a world of conventions that these children are living in. Then there is authority and rebellion as well. The authority comes from the aunt, and rebellion is from Nicholas and the other children. So with this, we have come to the end of our discussion on the short story Lumber Room.